Today's tutorial is going to be these hand towels that you can hang on your stove. I opted from using a button or making a buttonhole to putting on these nice little magnetic snaps. I tried several other versions as well. I did one, which is, this is really cute, but I use these little snaps that you clip on, which is not too bad, but I prefer the magnetic snap over that. And then there's this one that I made that has ties and ties on the stove. You kind of bring it up around and then loop it around and tie your little bow right here or in the back, whatever. So what I'm going to show you to start is this one. This design, I think this one was the easiest and turned out the prettiest. So we'll go with that to start. All you're going to need to do is make a template. Let's get this camera a little better. There we go. It's really easy to do. You're just going to take a sheet of copy paper. You'll fold it in half like this. And what I did is I lined it up on my mat and I just picked a triangle that I thought would be a good size to cut out, about like this. You can use your other one to make sure you get it right. Okay, there you have it. I cut that one a little crooked, but you know, just make sure you cut your sides the same. You can even fold this in half like so. This, yeah, I was really crooked, but just fold it in half, pick out an angle and cut. It really doesn't make much difference. It's all going to come out about the same as long as you get your angles the same on each side. Okay. This template, I might as well tell you how I made that one. That was for both of these. It kind of looks like an apple core. And all I did was take this little ruler, this scallop tool. You can use a little dinner plate or a cup. That would work just fine too. I cut a sheet of paper in half the same way, lined this up, drew on it, and then I've come around here, and what I did is cut it out that way and took that wedge out. So super easy to make these. You're going to take a hand towel. I like to press these when I start. They seem to lay a lot better when you cut them, but I just take it and press it, which I will do real quick. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, it's real easy to cut these towels in half. All I do is press them flat, fold them in half, and trim right up the center. It gives you two nice even pieces. Took my little template and I cut out 2 pieces of fabric and 1 piece of batting. You can use polyester, cotton, whatever. I use a little bit of both. I have polyester up there cut out. I have a piece of cotton right here. I used all scraps for this project, basically, so it really doesn't matter. But the first thing we're going to do is put the snap on. I got these snaps at JoAnn Fabrics. See, my camera's a little dark. There we are. It's a little bit better. Anyway, they're Everything Mary. You get, if you have a coupon, you can get 3 of these for, I think, $2. So, they're nice. They work real good. I'm gonna pull one set off. And I disconnect the backs from there. The first one, I like to put this piece right here on the top, and I like to put the female end down here at the bottom. So now what we should do first, honestly, is press this end under, because that's what it's going to need to be pressed under for the finished project, and that will give us a better idea of where to put these snaps. Alright, pressed it about a little less than 1/2 inch. You're going to want to lay it like so. We want the bottom to be up from the center a little bit. We're going to put that top one probably about right there. This is 5.5 inches, so we want to make sure we get it centered good. There we go. And we're just going to take this little metal piece right here, lay it there, and mark in those 2 long grooves. I'm going to take the seam ripper, just make a little poke hole here, get them edges through. I like to take a couple pieces of scrap fabric, but well, this won't work, of course, because it's too dark. We'll just use a little piece of batting that I had left over. I like to cut a nice little circle out. Doesn't have to be perfect, just so that it holds that magnet nice and stable. If you've got some real rigid stabilizer, that works pretty good too. So just poke these through the 2 little holes you made, like so. You don't have to poke holes in that batting, you can just stab right through it. Take your back, put that on like so. Everybody has a different preference. I push mine out like so. And there you go. That one's on. Now, It all depends on how far you want this to come down. On this first one I made, it's on the high side, I'd say. So you can kind of look and see what I got going on here. And I think this one's a little too high, so I would personally say bring that little lip right on down. But now don't forget also that there will be a seam there, so if you bring that right down, it's still going to kind of be up a little. So I'd say go about right there. All right, so I'm going to go right in here and set that right there. That's where you want it, up a hair. And let's lay this here and make sure we are centered. There we are. Make your 2 marks. All right. There you have it. All right, snaps are on. Now, you're going to want to take and lay these on here. Lay the first one right on top of your batting. And oh, and in case you didn't notice, this batting is a little bit shorter. That is because when we do this towel, we're going to be shoving that up in there, and that'll make less less work for your sewing machine. So put these face together, the good sides, the right sides together. Line that up real nice, and I'll take you over. Well, I forgot to turn the camera on, but all I did was line these up just like I had them over at the table, and I sewed right around, leaving the bottom open. And then you're just going to reach in there and turn it. You want to probably get a chopstick or something and poke them corners out real nice, because you want them to lay good. It looks like I'm going to have to do a little trim in here. What you want to do to get your corners nice and sharp is cut right here and here. I'll take you over here and show you. So right here and right here, I'm just going to cut these edges off. Everywhere you pivot, actually, you'll probably want to trim up, because this isn't going to look sharp and nice if you don't. There we are. Those ones are fine. Now, when you turn this around, you can go around and poke those edges out nice. Takes a little prodding to get these nice. Don't push so hard though that you rip right through your fabric. You don't want that. And I'll probably take that over now and give it a nice little press. Okay. That looks pretty good. So there you have it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and do it two different ways. You can either fold it. Let's take that tag off of there. You can fold it like this. Get it the right size. Tuck it in there. Or we can pleat it. I'm thinking a pleat would look really good. So, again, let's go over to the sewing machine and I'll show you how to do this. Okay, on my sewing machine I have this basting stitch. All you have to do, you could do a regular stitch and lengthen it as far as it'll go. But I've got this basting stitch, so I like to make use of it. Just go along and we're just going to sew. I leave about a quarter inch at the top. Now, you want to make sure you have little tails. I didn't leave much on this side. That's okay. To pull these tight. Look at that. Alright, that's all there is to it. And then just pull this other thread nice and tight. You have to be careful you don't pull them threads too hard because you'll rip them. And then you have to start over. Okay, back over to the table. Okay. So just straighten this up as nice as you can. And we're just going to tuck it right in. You tuck them strings in there, you're never going to notice them. Alright. And we're going to take it back over to the machine. What you want to be sure of, like, see, I got this big crinkle right here. You don't want anything like that. And make sure you got about, I'd say, ½ inch at least in there, a little more maybe. And make sure you're even, that you've got as much down, you've got it, the top, even on the top and even on the bottom, because when you sew that, it won't line up nice if it's not. Get these pleats lined up nice. Okay, I'm going to pause you. Okay, get this looking real nice before we start sewing. I like to bring my needle over to the right when I'm doing something like this so that I don't have to put that snap too far under, too close to my presser foot. Oops. It's still in the basting stitch. Let's pull that out of there. There we are. Okay. Always back stitch. See how close we are to that snap? You don't want to, yeah, you don't want to get too close to that. All right. That looks good. Now, I see we have a little bit of that basting stitch here still that's standing out. Easy enough just to yank that out of there. That's, there we are. Okay. Now, you can be done with it right now, or you can add a few decorative stitches to it. So I say we add a few decorative stitches. I like to start right about where my other stitching started. I say go right around the whole frame. We should be able to go right over that piece of that snap right there. Perfect. This will also keep your batting in place when you are washing it. Well, we won't worry about snipping our threads yet. I say we do this one more time, but this time we'll start here. Let's go ahead and put our stitch back in the middle so there's a little more of a gap in there. This time when we get up to where we were going to pivot, let's just turn it all the way around. Go straight across. That looks about right. Looks good. Let's do that one more time. Always goes nice and slow when you're sewing through the thick area. You don't want to bust the needle. And cut our threads. That's nice. Let's take it back over to the sewing table and see what we've got. Okay, that's pretty. Let's shake some of them threads off. That looks real nice. And straighten it up. I think that came out just great. If you decide you want to make one that has strings, this is really easy to do. Use the same apple core looking template that I showed you how to make, and all you're going to do is, instead of putting a snap on, you're just going to fold that. Well, before you fold it, just make yourself a little bit of binding. I can make a tutorial on that, but you can find those all over the internet. Each one was about, I think I did each one about 17 inches. And before you fold it, just sew it in on one of these lines that you sewed. Then fold this over and sew it down right on top of where you had already sewn.